happen at Daytona with these cars, so it's going to be interesting to see what happens tonight.
Yeah, and these guys will have a fast pair to play with, but it is still a 100-lap race, so you have obviously a lot of time to make moves. Didn't mention though, 65% fuel load, so will that strategy come into play? 5 tires, 100-degree track temp right now. So again, 5 tires. Do you take tires each time you have to come down pit road? Do you pit by yourself? Do you pit with your teammates, or just so you have help in general, not necessarily maybe a teammate, but a lot of unknowns that are going to get answered.
Yeah, and I certainly can't wait for this thing to get started. They should be rolling the qualifying here any minute, and qualifying speeds I'm not sure of either. I don't know if we're going to be seeing sub 50 seconds or not. I know they used to be able to get sub 50s.
Yeah, I mean, but even then, like I said, at the end of the day, it is a 100-lap race. So even if you make an oops in qualifying and you have to come from a little bit further back than what you'd hoped, you have plenty of time. 2.5 miles, 100 laps. I'm no math genius or mathematician, but to me that's plenty of time. It's all about patience too. I mean, with all that time, you could easily ruin your night, and I guess more than just your night, but everybody's night. With one wrong move.
Exactly. You can't win it on lap 1, but you sure can lose it on lap 1.
So I wouldn't even say lap 1. I would say the first 99 you could lose it just by one little slip up. And even like I mentioned, pit road with the fuel percentage, fuel load, just getting the pit road too. If you didn't practice it here in the practices, we're getting ready to roll to qualifying. If you mess up pit road, you could wipe people out, or even yourself, and you could lose that much more time.
Yeah, we've seen so many accidents happen entering pit road at these super speedways. You think back, I think it was the 2018 Daytona 500 with the wreck coming into the pits. So it's not uncommon, and it could happen tonight. As we see, they are in qualifying now, and we'll go ahead and see some of the cars go around the track.
2 guys I'm going to be keeping an eye on, Chris. Your season 2 champ, Shane Terrian, and your previous season champ, Trenton Jump. Obviously, 2 champs in this league. Gotta, you would think anyway, want to set, the precedents and set the bar for how this season's going to go, and say, if you want to win this title, you're going to have to go through us.
Yeah, but I don't know. The past at Daytona, or at least the season opener, hasn't gone well for everyone who's won the season opener. None of them have made it past the round of 8 if they've won the season opener. That's incredible to know.
Yeah, but and then again, somebody might see that stat and say, I want to be the guy that breaks the curse, for say. I want to go out here, put my name on this season, win the opener, and then make it past the round of 8, make it to the championship 4, or maybe win 2 in a row. Come out second race of the year, win that one too. So it's you want to break that curse, we'll say.
I know I would if I was driving. I would want to break that curse and win Daytona, because Daytona is everything. If you win at Daytona, you're good.
Good or just smart?
Maybe a little both.
There's a lot of luck involved too, though. You can't, say it's all skill or not skill and stuff like that. You gotta have a lot of luck. It's, after all, it is iRacing. You and I both know anything can happen, especially stuff out of your control. Netcode, anything. It's a lot. I won't say a little luck. You need a lot of luck to win and even survive one of these races.
Yeah, and that's going to be an interesting thing, is the strategy. Do you want to stay up front and control the race, lay in the back and avoid the big one? We're going to see many factors, and usually on that first lap you see people drop below the yellow line and get back to the back.
And I mentioned it before they went out for qualifying. Season 3 champ Trenton Jump, top of the board right now, 48.433. I know Eric Stamp was the quick time before more time started coming in, but Trenton, like I said, season 3 champ right now has got to strong time down.
Yeah, another past champion struggling here in qualifying as Shane Terrian, whole way back. It looks like in 21st right now, as he'll move up the board now.
It'd be P13, I believe, right now.
That's what it's looking like, yeah. Let's
Trenton.
see if that time holds up here. There's still a couple people out on the track, but Trenton on board for a pole.
Actually went slower on his second lap, went from his 48.433 to the 48.503. Matt Hummel right now P2, Christian Gomez P3, and Austin Story right now sitting in 4th as Will Bustler jumps to 4th.
Yeah, an identical time to Austin Story.
So here's actually a question for you. How is that settled in qualifying? Because I always thought it was whoever sets the time first, but clearly, as we just saw, that is not the case.
Oh, there's probably thousands and, like, I don't know, 10,000s numbers, but they don't show them. Because that's rare to have a same lap time.
It's rare, but as you can clearly tell, it happens. You know, iRacing keeping secrets, not showing us the more decimals and more behind the decimal, and we just get, you know, the first 3 numbers and we see a tie, but obviously there's some sort of formula to figure out who gets that spot. But
yeah,
right
15
now
numbers past the decimal.
Actually, there's just 2 more guys on track, Jacob Grant and Robert Sherwood. So right now Trenton trying to hold on to that top spot.
And Jacob's not going to be able to get another lap in. He just now crossed the line.
Looks like they both scraped the wall or did something, as their first laps did not count. So neither person will get a time in. So I mentioned it before they started taking times. Previous season champ wanting to put, you know, his name on this season. He goes out and gets quick time. He'll lead us to the green.
As now we'll go over the starting grid for today's Daytona 100 lapper. Trenton jump, like you said, starting on pole. Matt Hummel second. Christian Gomez starting 3rd. Will Bustler 4th. Austin Story starting in 5th. Gilberto, I'm gonna butcher it. Gilberto Javier Gomera, I think it is, starting 6th. Eric Stamp 7th, Tanner Johnson 8th, Austin Jordan 9th, and Justin Dietrich starting in 10th there. You want to pick up 11th?
Yeah, I'm just going to apologize for me and you now. If we butcher your name, we apologize. Hopefully we'll get it right for the next race. But Mike Tellier going to be 11th, Mason Wagaman 12th, Jason Cameron Jr. 13th with Bronson Stafford in 14th, Logan Brakey 15th with Joey Chapman 16th. I'm going to butcher this one. No, I'm not. Shane Terrian 17th, Tom Bourne 18th, Jonathan Woods 19th, and Kevin Young will round out the top 20.
And Joseph Lester will be in 21st, Jared Ziegler in 22nd, Jacob Grant going to be starting 23rd, did not get a lap time in. Going to have to see if Justin Teal also going to be on the grid at 24th, Spencer Hardison 25th, Brockton Packard in 26th, Caleb Smith 27th, and Robert Sherwood rounding out the field back there in the very last spot in 28th.
Looks like the only person we're missing is Spencer Hardison in that 25th spot, if I'm not mistaken. Yes, I said I was the only one missing. But so again, I had mentioned before, kind of with pit stops, you know, do you pit by yourself, pit with teammates, pit just with a group in general, so you're not by yourself and you lose the draft and stuff. Your top 3, Jump Motorsports.
Yeah, that makes you wonder if maybe they put in a lot of time into their qualifying set, or if this is fixed set, I'm not sure. But put a lot of effort into qualifying and making sure that they're up front.
I'm just going to say Ford Power. Don't prefer a Ford in real life, but Fords on iRacing seem to be where it's at as far as qualifying goes. I know a certain other league, the Fords dominated Daytona, but we won't talk about that. This is a new league, well, at least for us, and we're learning. But yeah, Jump Motorsports 1, 2, 3. They I mentioned a certain driver wanting to put his, name down and kind of raise the bar, but maybe we could see a team, put their name down and set the mark for the season.
Yeah, the team aspect, always fun in iRacing. You get to race with your friends, or even sometimes just new people that you meet and get them on a team and then you become friends. It's always great with this atmosphere.
As we're getting ready to come to the green, keys to the race, we said it earlier, patience. Obviously staying out of the big one. Again, not if it's going to happen, but when. And then, as we mentioned before, just the strategy. Again, track temp actually cooled off a little bit down to 97. 77 air temp, partly cloudy. You have an 11-mile-an-hour wind to the east. Are tires going to be a factor? Are they not going to be a factor? Do you take no tires, 2 tires? We're going to find out as we're getting ready to go green.
Yeah, the pace car is off and the green flag is out for the Daytona 100 lapper here.
It's interesting to see if Bustler or even Austin Story can get around these teammates. It's important to keep the draft and have a partner, but if they get lined up 1, 2, 3, you got to imagine it's going to be tough to get around them and get a run towards the front.
Yeah, I'm going to be interested to see also if that outside lane has any power at all. Like we said, we don't really know much about these next gen cars, and it's going to be interesting to see what they can do here at Daytona.
And I don't want to be a spoiler, but a little birdie told me, I know I told you earlier, we do know that it is possible to tandem. So will we see, again, the Jump Motorsports guys? There's 3 of them, but do we see 2 of them get together in tandem and kind of pull away from this field? As lap 1 goes to last season's champ, Trenton Jump.
And we see the 3rd member of that team falling back on the outside lane, not able to keep up with his 2 teammates. That's the 93 of Gilberto, or I'm sorry, Matt Hummel. Back in the 93 car, just falling back.
And I wonder if that's a product, of just the outside line and not having the momentum built up yet, or, just not enough cars maybe. It's actually kind of surprising to see how far back he has gone, but hopefully, obviously still early, like I said in the beginning, patience, and it is a 100-lap race after all, so, it's not the end of the world if you do fall back here. Just kind of, bide your time and maybe jump down when you get an opening and kind of ride for a little bit and slowly work your way back towards the front.
Yeah, that's something that surprised me though. I've seen some openings and they just haven't taken them, so maybe they're just trying to go to the back. As we got almost a 3-wide battle here, as Jonathan Woods slid up the track there. The 5 almost took underneath him, but that was close here with the 2 and 93. Wow. Jonathan Woods nearly hit the 93 whenever he tried filling in that gap.
Well, it's interesting. Hummel couldn't get down, but Bustler and Jonathan Woods, who were obviously in that line with him, both got down. Both now in this long single file line around the yellow line. But they're in line. They're kind of stabled out in 14th and 15th, and Hummel has gone all the way from 2nd back to 23rd right now.
Yeah, not the start he was looking for at all, as these guys are going to get single file here, and we're only 4 laps in.
Yeah, working lap 4 as you jump back to the front real quick to check on the leaders. I mentioned the tandem. As soon as I came back up and saw what they were doing, Christian Gomez laid the wood to Trenton, kind of pushed him out a little bit, but back apart as they get through 3 and 4, coming off turn 4. And right now, granted, everybody's single file, kind of riding, maybe feeling everybody out, see what's going to happen. These 2 are looking strong up front.
You got to wonder if maybe water temps and oil pressure are going to come into a factor with that tandeming, and maybe that's why he's giving a little bit of air for him right now.
It's possible. I think something happened towards the back as Robert Sherwood, Matt Hummel, and a couple other guys look like they are going to lose this main pack if they can't get sorted and back going. I called it going into 1. They kind of fell back a little bit, but we'll have to keep an eye on that, see if they can maybe close that gap back up. Yeah, or do they start a second pack?
They could start a second pack, but these cars do have enough pull on them that they might not lose the draft.
Which again, I mean, I know I'm kind of contradicting myself. Do they catch the pack or not and kind of ride? But you don't want to. Oh, they're wrecking up front.
Yeah, reckon he saved it though. Got to get.
Here's where it gets scary. Looks like the 23 of Tanner Johnson.
Yeah. Now he's probably going to lose the draft. That he is way off the pace. He is not going to be able to keep up with the pace. That's unfortunate for him this early in the race, but still plenty of time to come back.
This looks like there was a big checkup entering the tri-oval. Bronson checked up, and everybody started to check up, and then it's just, you see it all the time, the accordion effect. Tanner kind of got stacked up and just got turned towards the grass, but it's a rough start for sure. You don't want to have that early, but it happens. Like I said, anything can happen in these races.
Yeah, now you see a very large gap between our 11th position of Mason Wagman and Jonathan Woods back in 12th. There's a huge gap, and it looks like two packs are going to start to form here.
Yeah, so you got 12th to looks like 19th, and then you got 20th on back to what would be 27th, and obviously Tanner in 28th, unfortunate with the damage. But so you're really going to have three packs. You know, you obviously got Trenton leading the lead pack. Then you have Jonathan leading that second pack. You know, again, you raise the same question. Did these guys kind of push and get back up to that main pack to leave that third pack? You know, so then instead of three, you have two somewhat decent-sized packs. Or do you kind of ride and manage that gap? Because, again, another big stack up like that, you know, you could either stay in it and then you blow around those guys that slow up, or obviously you check up, and then, again, you have one big pack. To answer your question about the temps, I would say right now they are good, because Christian, he's not really attached to them, but he's getting down the straightaways. He's making sure, you know, if anybody decides to step out of line and, you know, maybe take a peek at the lead, that they don't have the chance to.
Yeah, definitely getting a lot of air to the grill every time he can, and then whenever the cars behind him start pushing up a little bit, he's solid on the bumper.
So now we talked about, again, the teams and the different strategies, but if you're in this race right now, 100-lap race, and you know the fuel window is a little bit shallower than it would be with a full tank, how would you kind of attack this first fuel run here?
I would stretch it the whole way on the fuel run, and then pit with your teammates, pit with someone you've got an alliance with that's going to help you come out of the pits with a strong run.
When I mentioned that front pack, they have not really allowed the second pack to catch up, but the second pack has caught up. So they have 19 in that lead draft, and then obviously 20th on back in this second pack by themselves. As the teammate to Trenton and Christian, who started second, Hummel, is going to lead this second pack, because they're now 6 seconds behind the keep an eye on that gap, see if they can kind of close it in and hopefully not fall much further back.
Yeah, and we're starting to see too wide, as some people trying to make the outside work here, as it looks like Shane Terrian and Tom Bourne trying to make the outside work.
I think you're going to need a lot more than just two, though. I mean, I mentioned it again in the beginning, was Will and Matt, you know, just don't have the momentum built up yet, or maybe they just had, you know, a bad start, which is, you know, also possible. But, you know, I think you're going to need more than just two. I would argue maybe even four, unless, as I mentioned again, we can see somebody get together and kind of tandem to the front. Yeah,
we saw Jonathan Woods pull up and try to make something happen, but now he's going to fall back, and he's going to go from 12th to 20th in one corner. That's how quick things can change here at Daytona.
I mentioned a couple laps ago, Hummel was leading that second group. That has now changed. He is now the back of this group, and Joey Chapman will lead the group. They lost 0.2 the last lap, back to 6.2, so we'll keep an eye again this time. But from experience, it's good to be in that second pack, because normally it's a little bit calmer. You know, guys aren't really pushing as hard sometimes. Obviously, you know, guys can push hard. But, you know, like I said, it tends to be a little bit calmer. Guys more so want to ride and survive, per se. But I don't know how far you actually want to fall back to that main pack.
Yeah, usually a distance of about 3 seconds behind the main pack is where I like to stay whenever I have raced here at Daytona before in the past. Um, Usually the front group is wild and crazy, but right now, very calm in the front group. Just single file, minding their P's and Q's, probably just waiting until the first pit stops to see what they can do.
They look a lot more organized as well. I'm watching the second pack, and they're not really all, nose to tail. They're kind of, guys, I don't want to say peeking because I don't think they're going to make a move, but, just kind of getting out of line. And they're going to catch Jonathan Woods here in about a second or two as he lost that lead pack. But you can definitely see it on the time charts as well. They just keep losing time each lap, which, again, it's not the end of the world. You still got over 80 laps to go, so plenty of time to make it back, and obviously pit stops. But like we've been saying, you don't want to fall too far back because it makes that second half of the race that much harder if you don't have a caution. But it's not impossible, but it is very rare to have one of these races go caution free.
Tell you who I got my eye on right now, Tom Bourne. He's made a move. He passed two cars, and what he's trying to do is get right on the right rear of the car in front of him, pull him back, and then drop down in front of him in the next corner. But as you can see here, Will Bustler going to pull underneath him in the 10 and send the 54 on back.
Yeah, it's doable by yourself, but again, you're going to need help at some point. That side draft and pulling the guy back and then getting in line and getting a run, it only gets you so far. I think the most I've seen able to be passed doing that is 5 or 6. And that's pushing it. That's like you're on the guy's door and right rear quarter extremely hard. And yeah, with that too, you have to have a lot of trust, because if you come down and the guy on the bottom comes up just a little bit and you meet in the middle, boom, there's your big one that we keep touching on. So it's, in my opinion, a little early for that, but hey, maybe these guys have more trust in each other than I would at this point of the race, and they can go for it.
It looks like Tom Bourne is not happy riding in the back. Every chance he gets, he's just making passes.
Which, as I said, see?
Oh, man.
I just said it. If they meet in the middle, it's going to be ugly, and they almost did. Will luckily kind of pulled it back down, and, they kept going. But, for me, like I said, in my opinion, too early. I'd be kind of what Will's doing, letting him do his own thing and staying in the bottom lane. But at the same time, too, you're also learning. Like it is a long race, yes, 100 laps, still have over 80 to go, but you're learning. Each lap, okay, how much do I gain this lap doing this? How much do I lose doing this? Now it's in the back of your mind for later in the race where, yeah, now you have 80 to go. But now, fast forward 70 laps, well, now there's 10 to go. I know what works and what doesn't work. Now you have that in the back of your mind coming into the race. That could be the difference between, say, Bustler and these guys back here, Tom Bourne, trying this to where Trenton, who, yes, he's led every lap so far with his teammate behind him, might not necessarily have that information, which could come back to bite him.
Yeah, what Tom's doing now is just testing things, seeing what he can do. He almost tasted Coca-Cola a lot earlier than he wanted to. I'm sure he's going to have a Coca-Cola in victory lane if he gets there. He almost had it there, as he almost hit the Coca-Cola number 10 car.
It could be a Pepsi fan, just because old Bustler's got Coke on the truck, car, doesn't mean, not no Pepsi fans, and I'm not biased either way, but, some people like different kinds of drinks. I do like that car Bustler's got there. I do, not sure if you've tried the new Coke, but not sure what they did, but it's got a different flavor to it, if you ask me.
Yeah, it's pretty good. The Coke Zero is really good.
Checking back in that second pack, 7 seconds last time by, and it is 7.4 now. So Trenton leading this front group. 46.1 was Trenton's time, as opposed to a 46.5 by Joey. So again, I'm just going to go back to that front group. Obviously, yes, there is more cars, so obviously, common math, more cars make you go faster. They just seem more organized. They're staying more nose to tail, not necessarily tucked up extremely tight, but when you stay lined up, you don't necessarily have to be as compressed and tight to keep the speed. And
as the leaders are coming through the tri-oval here, In front of them, lap traffic already. Tanner Johnson, we saw him in trouble earlier. He's about to go a lap down here. As the leaders are coming by him, he's going 180, and Trenton is going 192. So easily gonna get past him.
And a big, not really developing story, but a big thing for Tanner, if he can't latch onto this group. Kevin Young back in 27th, looking like he's going to lose that second pack, as they have shuffled, I believe it's Joey Chapman. Yes, Joey Chapman out of the front of that pack. I guess they, decided they were falling too far back and they want to get going, so Joey down to the back of this group. But yeah, so Tanner's going to have to watch Kevin, because now, assuming it stays green, the leader's going to lap Kevin. So now, instead of, kind of riding and being the only person to lap down, the caution comes out, you get the lap back. Now you might have to, get up on the wheel a little bit and maybe get the elbows out, get that lucky dog spot back.
Yeah, it's always a race within a race for that lucky dog spot, and some people don't like whenever lap cars are racing each other within the pack, but it's part of racing, and it's bound to happen here if we get one or more cars a lap down.
Shane Tarian has Tanner in front of him. Looks like he's going to try and push it back up to that lead pack, which again, like I had said, if Tanner couldn't, latch onto this group and stay with them and fall back to that second pack, that would almost make it not guaranteed, but definitely a lot easier for Kevin, assuming he doesn't have any damage, to hold that front group and then just make the lucky dog that much easier for himself.
Yeah, Kevin has separated himself from that back group by a lot here. And the second group really hasn't moved that much away from that first pack there.
Yeah, but they're still losing time, though. Like I said, I think whenever we had first touched on it, they were only about 4.5, 5 seconds maybe, and now it's already up to 8. So they're not, too far off the pace. I mean, like last time by, they were only about half a tenth slower. But again, if this race does happen to go green, which again I've seen it happen, and I'm sure you have as well, it's not impossible, but just again not likely. It just makes the end of that race, that much harder to gain that ground than where you lose.
I'm wondering if these guys might be coming up on pit stops, because we are 22 laps into the race here, and with 65% fuel load in these, I would say around 25 is the max distance these guys can get, maybe 30. But it might be time for pit stops, and we've got to watch, like you said in pre-race, for potential wrecks whenever people try pitting here.
And I mentioned it before, Shane tried pushing Tanner up to that group. He actually got him in that group. It looked like Tanner went up to the second groove to maybe pass some more cars. He's going to lose the draft again. Little front end damage, little left rear damage from the early contact, and he's going to fall into the clutches of that second group and probably be in some trouble.
Yeah, if he loses his second group, he's definitely not going to be able to get the lucky dog unless a caution comes out before. Let me see, what was his name here? Kevin Young gets lapped.
And actually, Matt Hummel also lost the draft, so you're potentially going to have 3 guys lap down. So now we have pit stops.
Oh, we got a lockup here from the 5. Oh, Will Bustler in the grass. Oh man, a hectic pit stop here.
Tanner coming in with these guys. So I was just getting ready to say that I was just hearing over the radios some guys saying lap 25, maybe 24. Coming to it. As you're going to see the leader of the second pack come in. 94 just called it out. Jonathan Woods in the 2 pitting. And Trenton also just called out that himself and Christian are pitting. So it's like 24, 25 laps is your max.
Let's see if this round is going to be a lot cleaner than the last. No lockup so far. And oh, Trenton locks it up. Christian also does. Few lockups here. No collisions though. Oh, here's the second group also pitting. A lot of lockups.
I will say a lot cleaner than the first group.
Yeah, a lot cleaner, but I've just got to wonder if these guys take 2 tires, are those lockups going to come into a factor at all?
Jonathan Woods had to check up for Joey Chapman, it looked like, so might lose some time there, as Austin Story will be the first person to lead a lap that isn't named Trenton in this one. And these guys look like they're going to be coming in this time, as they had caught Caleb Smith, as looks like 2 more cars are going to stay out. Bronson Stafford.
Oh, that's a speeding penalty for sure. Austin Story. That's going to hurt. That was 100% a speeding penalty. Unfortunate for him.
So we're going to keep an eye. Trenton obviously was your leader before pit stops. And what do you know? Christian Gomez right back to that bumper. They're already locked up and pushing with Austin Jordan. And it is a ways back to Jacob Grant. So right now, 3 cars, not necessarily, pushing too hard, but linked back up already, and they're going to be on the move. As Justin Teal on the apron.
Yeah, something wrong with Justin Teal's car, or perhaps a penalty, as he's going to pull it in. He was last scored 18th and now pulling it into the pits here.
So Trenton was about a full lap behind Mike and Bronson as they just came into pit road. So let's keep an eye on that.
Oh, almost trouble on pit road there between Mike and Bronson.
Looks like Eric Stamp also had a speeding penalty, as they look like they're both holding, I believe. And maybe the 2 car as well. I'm pretty sure he was already on pit road. I believe Bustler had one as well, as he is 2 laps down.
Yeah, these pit stops definitely shook up a lot. But one thing it did not shake up is how fast that car of Trenton's is, as he is already, it looks like once the scoring settles out, yeah, he's already up to 3rd again.
Yeah, he's definitely going to get Mike. Assuming he'll get Bronson, obviously, yeah, he's not going to be up to speed by any means. Actually, he's up to speed more than I thought he would be, but these guys have a full head of steam. They're not going to be able to get in front of that train. As actually, that 3-car pack has now turned into 5, and then assuming that Mr. Bronson can latch on, will be a 6-car breakaway for the lead.
Oh, and we got cars getting a little squirrely there as they tried dropping down to the bottom. Trenton got real sideways on the front stretch there.
We'll just go ahead and call it perfectly executed pit stops by Trenton and Christian. Like I said, Trenton basically did lead that entire first run, coming to pits. A couple guys led laps, obviously, because he pitted, but himself and Christian, I would say, pretty much a perfect stop. Got back out front. That lead pack went from, almost 20 cars down to 6.
Yeah, this is definitely shaking up the race for sure here, as we got 4 Fords out front with 1 Chevy behind them, and it looks like a Chevy behind him as well. So Ford's dominating the front.
Actually, you got 2 Fords. Austin is in a Chevy. Another Ford, a Chevy, and a Ford.
Is Austin? Oh yeah, it is a Chevy. Okay. My eyes ain't so good,
Gotta get them binoculars I gave you. It's hard to see all the way down the backstretch. They are now lapping the 32 of Justin Teal.
I got a new pair of glasses coming in a few weeks, so that should be good for me.
Whatever helps. I know it's rough. So I mentioned Bustler was 2 laps down. He's back to 1. So it's actually just himself and Tanner 1 lap down. Actually, I misspoke. Justin Teal obviously just 1 lap down. Kevin Young will be next, and he's actually got Jason Cameron Jr. in front of him. But I don't think he's got his draft to be able to keep up with that pack that's right there in front of him of the 49 of Austin Story, Jonathan Woods, and Eric Stamp. But we'll have to wait and see.
Yeah, it looks like Kevin's in trouble here. He's not really gaining on Jason, so looks like he may be another victim that's going to fall to Trenton jump and get lapped by him.
I'm going to hopefully not give him the broadcast curse, but I think Trenton's going to be the try and be the guy to break that curse that we mentioned of not being able to make it past the round of 8. He won the championship last year, so obviously that means he did not win the opener last year, but or last season, I should say. But I'm gonna go out on a limb and say he's gonna try and break that curse, and at least for the moment, I don't think Christian's the least bit concerned of pulling out a line and making a move.
Yeah, that's another thing you got to wait on toward the end of the race. Even though you're teammates, that Daytona win, it might mean a little bit more than friendship.
Still a long way to go. Like I said, track time's actually cooling off still. We're down to 92. Winds are actually cooling off as well, but you know, you don't think tires would be, you know, too big of a factor at Daytona, but again, it is iRacing, and tires sometimes do equals raw speed.
As we approach lap 33, which will be 1/3 of the race, why don't we take a quick word from our sponsors and take a commercial break here, as we're in between pit stops, so I don't think there's going to be any action. I think it's a good time for a commercial. Alright, and we are back here at Daytona, and nothing's changed, as our former champion Trenton Jump still out front, but something interesting here, a lap car right in front of him, so now he's not technically leading that first pack. And that car is the 72 of Kevin Young, out in front of Trenton Jump and out in front of the pack.
As there was contact on the backstretch, Jonathan Woods and Will Bustler involved, as there was talks about a comp yellow, apparently, well, not apparently, in the rule book, and league owner said it was actually an oversight. It wasn't supposed to be there. So there will be a comp yellow at lap 40 coming to 41, but Jonathan Woods and Will Bustler contact as they were trying to work around a slower car, I believe. And now Bustler has lost the pack. He's in. Jonathan Woods now a lap down, coming to pit road to get that damage fixed.
Yeah, and that's unfortunate there for Jonathan Woods and Will Bustler. Definitely not how they want their Daytona to go.
I actually missed it, and then I was listening to the radios talking about the comp yellow and when that might be, and I heard an apology, so I went and looked around, and sure enough, there it was. It's Bustler. He might need a new front clip on that car. He's kind of looking like Austin Dillon at the Charlotte testing.
Yeah, it is. It is looking like a late model out there, and not a next gen car.
As Woods already down and away, maybe just not trying to lose too much time or laps, possibly knowing that the comp caution is now coming. But you almost think, oh, we're going 3 wide. Coming to,
3 wide.
These guys are getting racy coming to the comp yellow.
Yeah, they know it's coming, so now they're going to try to get every position they can so they can gain it under caution here as the field passes Will Bustler there, and it will generate a 3 wide there. Trying to see who's leading that outside.
61 of Bronson.
Yeah, Bronson in the 97 as well, working the outside, and they're all alone now. So I don't think there's going to be really any challenge for Trenton at all for the lead here as we come to the comp yellow.
Should be one more lap, I believe. I believe it was 40 coming to 41.
Oh, yeah, you're right.
Well, it was interesting to see. I was kind of hoping those guys actually got a good run going because there is a lapper of Kevin Young, who's obviously the last car in the lead lap, in front of Trenton. And I was kind of going to see, would they leave him out to dry to hold the lead or, just kind of get a little bit more aggressive and push. But clearly they stay put, and they're content with where they're running come to this comp yellow.
Yeah, seem content with it. I thought maybe Trenton might try passing him here, but he's just going to stick behind him as the caution is out.
Yeah, a good bit of confusion on that comp yellow. It's kind of like I said, what I was listening in for is they actually almost lapped Jonathan Woods again, which would have put him 2 down, as Bustler is 2 down now. But, yeah, I didn't see exactly what happened. Like I said, it looked like they were kind of catching up to a slower car and just, one of them racing deals where it happens real quick and you're not ready for it. And unfortunately for Jonathan and Will, not the end of their night, but definitely a damper on it. I'm assuming we're going to see these guys on pit road again for more pit stops.
Yeah, they're about 20 laps in, or maybe 15 laps in, depending on when they came in on that fuel. So they're definitely going to need fuel, but maybe not 4 tires.
It's, again, we touched on it pre-race. It's going to be that strategy call. Do you want to pit and take 4? Maybe 2? Maybe none. It's it's kind of how you're feeling pretty much. As the top 5 were on 24 laps on this fuel run. Or sorry, 16. Sorry, wrong number. 16 laps.
And all the front runners coming in here, no one's staying out. And it's going to be interesting to see who takes 4, who takes 2, and who takes none.
In my opinion, if you're Trenton and Christian, you're not having to take none, but you almost, in my opinion, want to take none to keep that track position. But the right sides are up.
And left side's going up on Trenton. We got cars going by him here. As past champion, it looked like Terrian took 2 possibly.
I'm going to say Mason Wagaman took none. Yeah, Terrian maybe 2. And then Trenton comes out 3rd. So I would say 4 from everybody else. And then You know, obviously, as we know, probably 2 and maybe none from your new leaders.
Yeah, and that's something we haven't seen from Trenton is him in traffic. So let's see how he's able to handle that.
Yeah, it's, you know, again, you know, they lost their third teammate Hummel, but now, you know, they're not going to be leading. You know, Trenton, I've started on the pole. Christian was lined up behind him at the start. So now you're going to have to see, you know, how is their car and even them behind the wheel going to handle, you know, not being that lead car? Will they get aggressive and, you know, as soon as we get single file, if we get single file again, push around these guys to get back out front?
Yeah, I think that's the big thing is if they get single file again, because as we all know, one of the famous phrases in NASCAR is cautions breed cautions. And as we have a caution here, they may get dicey and start, making it 3 wide. These cars can't quite get 4 wide here. I mean, you can, but it's probably going to cause a wreck.
Yeah. So Justin Teal was your lucky dog, obviously, because Kevin Young was in front of Trenton coming to that caution. Jonathan Wood's going to take the wave around because he had just pitted. But real quick, as we are, I believe, getting doubled up. Yes, we are. As Trenton is back at the second, as I believe Mason pitted again. Upcoming races for this league: you got Auto Club next, then they go to Road America, Nashville Super Speedway, a off week for the holiday, and then we go to Gateway, which, you know, some people might like the call, some people might not. Real life going to Gateway as well. I myself am not a fan, but I guess it depends on who you are. You either like it or you don't.
Yeah, I've always been a fan of Worldwide Technology Raceway, as they call it, or otherwise known as Gateway. It's a great track. It's one of those drivers' tracks. It's almost like Darlington in shape, but New Hampshire as far as banking.
It's one of those where I like it, but sometimes it doesn't like me. You know, it's like that love-hate relationship. You like it if it goes good, and then when it, you know, spits you out and doesn't treat you very nice, you don't like it and you never want to go back again. It's kind of like Daytona.
Yeah, it's me and Daytona. I have a love-hate relationship with this track.
I don't want to toot my own horn, but I think I'm a pretty good plate racer in my own right. But hey, that's neither here nor there. I guess we'll see come February.
Yeah, these guys are coming off a turn 4 here, about to get the restart as the pace car gonna duck off. And for the first time today, Shane in control of the restart, and he's gonna clear second place here. And now Shane Terrian out to the front.
I tell you what, Joseph Lester was laying it to Trenton coming back to the green, but Trenton right away gets back in front of his teammate Christian Gomez and behind Shane. So now you have your two, I guess we'll say, most recent champions of this league running 1-2. And we kept asking, we'll have to see what Trenton and Christian do, not being the leaders, but again, they get back lined up and they look content right now, just kind of riding and hopefully finishing some more laps.
Yeah, and we're starting to see those cars drop to the bottom line anytime they get that opening. So I think it's going to be one of those things where it's just going to be a single file race until it comes down to like 3 to go, maybe 2 to go even.
Yeah, that's the thing about iRacing. Every league's different. I've obviously been around the block a couple times, I guess we'll call it. I've seen leagues where drop the green flag, they are 2, 3, I hate to say it, even 4 wide here. And, it's cautions, breed cautions. And then I know, for an instance, I think our first Daytona race in, I guess I'll just say our league, we got single file like this and we rode until the end. We had a green flag pit stops all race, and then, if we had a caution, it was at the very end from guys getting aggressive. So it looks like these guys are content with, riding and pacing themselves and making sure they have equipment at the end to make a run. And, you like to see that. I mean, it's not the best race, obviously, as far as action. And, again, obviously some people watching might not like that. But as far as a driver and even, a broadcaster or just anything, you have to appreciate that because they're taking care of their equipment. They're, again, not putting on the most exciting show, but it's still early. It's Daytona. You have plenty of time to make a move, and you want to be there at the end in order to, able to have a chance to make that aggressive move at the end and go for the win.
Yeah, and that big one that's looming has not happened yet, so we gotta keep that in mind too. Where do you want to be when that breaks out? Do you want to be up front and avoid it, or do you want to be mid-pack and have a chance to avoid it there? Because it's gonna happen. It always happens at these tracks.
As it looks like Tanner, who's obviously in the lucky dog spot right now, as everybody's single file, may be losing the draft again, which would be good for Will, obviously, as Will seems to be holding on to the draft as there's a checkup in front of him. But the good thing for Will, his team put a new hood and nose on that thing. It looks good as new. I stand corrected. I forgot we have a fast repair here. So use that fast repair. So before halfway, so I mean, if I'm Will, I may just be riding, maybe hoping for a caution, maybe get a lap back or two. And, obviously now you have a clean car, so I don't know. That's a tough call. I might have gotten the damage fixed and kind of saved that fast repair, but then again, you never know.
Yeah, I tell you who's got the lucky break right now is Kevin Young. As you remember, coming to the caution, he was right in front of the leader, and now he is at the tail end almost of this front pack, sitting 25th, but luckily still on the lead lap for him.
Yeah, that's all you really need. I mean, we've been saying it, all night. It's 100 laps. It's Daytona of all places. It's one, anything can happen, but two, you can make a move really, I would argue, from anywhere. As Jonathan Woods almost got in the back of Kevin there on the checkup. But, anything can happen as we're seeing the checkups. And it's just, you got to be on your toes. Like I said, the big thing is you have to remember anything can happen at any point in time. We saw it in the beginning with Tanner. Your race can change in a matter of a millisecond. So, 1 minute you could be fighting for your life trying to stay on the lead lap. The next minute you could be top 5 battle for leaders. We have some guys peeking out of the line, maybe making a move.
Yeah, and that car is the 21 car of Justin Dietrich, starting to make a run on the outside there with the 53 of Eric Stamp. But not going to go very far, and I'm kind of surprised that they didn't get back down in line there.
You never know. They might see the stack ups and think, hey, we can stay outside and, maybe not lift and, make some moves, maybe gain a couple spots and then maybe get in line. One of the guys you see in that second groove is teammate to Trenton and Christian, Matt Hummel. Started second, hasn't really, I would say, been inside the top 15 since the start of the race. Another guy started towards the front, Eric Stump, started 7th. He's back now in the second groove, maybe trying to make something work. But on the same token too, they could also be testing, seeing what they can do, seeing if this guy leads, how far can we get? But then again, they're also the drivers and we're in the booth, so we don't know.
Well, one thing I do know is Eric Stamp is stamping the rear bumper of that 21 car. He was solid on it the entire backstretch there.
And that's what you got to do. I think right now they have enough people to make that work, but if you're gonna make it work from that far back, you got to get aggressive with your bumps and start pushing hard. I mean, again, I know I've said it earlier. It is still early. You just passed halfway, but from this far back, you're not going to get much momentum, if any at all. Honestly, just kind of using the bubbles to just push. You got to start laying the wood to it, as we'll call it, and rubbing some paint.
Yeah, but you always got to be on the lookout for when iRacing tells you otherwise that you're doing a good job. iRacing would just tell you netcode.
Yeah, it happens. Again, I've seen it in our league. 1 year it can go well, and you come back the next year and you have 10, 15 cautions, and you're pulling your hair out because it's a long night. But a lot of times, like you just said, those cautions are netcode. You get side by side, and most of the time that's when you see it at places like Daytona. Side by side, guys not necessarily pinching, but just being a little closer. Stamp contact.
Oh, there we go. 32.
Hummel's in it. And Justin Teal.
Justin Teal almost went up on his roof, but is going to keep the car rolling. As you said, Matt Hummel also involved in that. As we'll go ahead and take a replay here.
It looks like Stamp, they kind of met in the middle. Wagaman, yeah, Wagaman comes up, they kind of meet in the middle, and just slight contact sends Stamp into the wall. Actually, kept it off the wall at first, and then gets clipped from the spinning 32 of Justin Teal. Again, Hummel involved, so not what he expected after qualifying second. And if he still has that fast repair, these guys are in luck. They can use that fast repair and, maybe get towards the front and give Trenton and Christian some help.
Yeah, and luckily for the field, this thing happened toward the back, so not too many collected in that. Only 4 cars total collected in that, or have a little piece of that. So maybe not necessarily the big one, but definitely a wild ride for both Eric and Justin Teal.
Yeah, we're going to find out about these fast repairs. Eric Stamp missing a hood on my end. Teal, heavy front end damage. And then obviously Hummel's looking like some nose damage and definitely right rear damage from when he got hooked. So, we'll obviously see. I don't. Actually, if you're a leader here, do you pit or stay out?
I would probably pit. Considering it's around lap 50, you can make it one stop from here. So I say everyone's coming into pit road here.
Well, now we'll see. We're just assuming that Shane took 2 on that last stop, as Will Bustler gets the lap back. Oh, no, it should be. No, they're just catching the pace car.
No, he's going around the pace car. No, he's not. Okay. Looks like Tanner is going to get the lucky dog as he goes around the pace car.
And to answer my own question, looks like no tires. Shane, no tires. And Trenton, no tires as well.
Great pit stop there for Trenton. Curious if maybe he took less fuel than Shane Terrian.
It's possible. Both no tires was the call. Trenton, like I said, Trenton and Shane both no tires. Obvious reason why they're out front, but I would say based off on how that first run went, this is a bad situation for this field. Trenton and Christian will be lined back up again as Shane will be second, and we'll have to see if Bustler takes the wave round to get one of his laps back. But yeah, teammates back lined up, as that was a 12-lap run. So not half a fuel run.
Any fans of Eric Stamp and Justin Teal, both of them have gotten their cars fully repaired and are back in the fight.
And Mr. Hummel did as well. So I'm assuming they all had their fast repairs, so should be good. And I believe Jonathan Woods did as well, which he might have used his from his first incident.
Yeah, I wasn't quite sure if he was collected in that one. I saw him back there, but I don't know if he was just back there for braking or if he got some damage from it.
And it looks like Bustler is going to take the wave around. We'll have to see if our producer can get us a number on Bustler's current fuel run. Wait and see if the producer can get us that number. But I know we've obviously run a couple races with Will in another league. He definitely is a smart guy. Knows what he needs to do to put himself in position to grab a win. And if he thinks wave round right now is the thing he needs to do, then I'm not going to argue with him. He, like I said, he knows what to do to put himself in the right position.
It's looking like about 10 laps since he's pit, and going around here right now, that's putting 11 or 12 laps now. Because he pit for the not stage break, but the competition yellow. And so it's been about 14 laps since that.
So from what we know from that first run, that's about half a run. So if our numbers and our thinking is correct, he might need a quick yellow, to maximize this wave round. Because obviously right now, again, he is the only car one lap down, as it looks like Tanner's going to stay out and save his fast repair. Actually, he might have gotten it fixed. It looks pretty clean actually now, so maybe I stand corrected. He might have gotten it fixed. But Will maybe hoping for a quick yellow, get his last lap back. As I mentioned earlier, could be trouble for the field as we're going to get ready to go back green. Trenton and Shane hooked back up as we are back underway. So not a good restart from the inside line as the top three get going. And everybody else not really, we'll say, ready to go and sleeping on that restart. So it may have been Jacob Grant. Not 100% sure, actually.
Tell you what, right there on that restart, Shane Terrian was keeping it. Oh, speaking of Shane Terrian, he just chopped the nose off of the 61 to get in line there. That was a risky move right there, but he was pinching on the door of the 48 and almost contact between him and the 48, and now almost contact between him and the 61.
You can definitely tell we are not on lap one anymore. More aggressive moves to get to the bottom lane. You mentioned it, the chop up front. I've seen a couple more towards the back. Spencer Hardison cannot get to the bottom. He's going to be stuck up top. He's got a couple guys behind him, hopefully be able to pick him up and maybe not fall too far back. But I don't know. It doesn't seem like anybody's been able to really make that top side work. And we've seen, small groups try it, and we've seen a bigger group try it, and it doesn't seem like there's anything up there. I would personally want to see Trenton and Christian maybe have to do it as we saw in the beginning. Christian, they hit the backstretch, and he is on that back bumper of Trenton. And actually, he had help from Joseph Lester down the back that time.
Yeah, and I'm not sure how Christian felt about that contact from Joseph, because he kind of pushed Christian up the track entering turn 3. Not sure if he was unhappy or maybe a hand gesture out the window from that. I don't know.
May have told him, you're number one as well. We don't know. You clearly don't have your binoculars, so you wouldn't be able to see. But we also mentioned in the beginning the tandeming. Could we start to see that from Christian and Trenton? They know their teammate Hummel obviously just used his fast repair, so can't really be as aggressive as Trenton and Christian. But we're closing in on 40 to go, and you mentioned it before the pit stops. You can make it on one stop from here. So I asked you in the beginning, what do you do if this first run? Do you run it all the way out? Do you maybe short pit, kind of play strategy hopefully for the end? I'll ask again. If we'll just say Trenton and Christian leading this race, I would argue had a stranglehold on this race most of it. What do you do here? Do you pit when your window first opens and there's about 25, 24 to go? Or if you can go further than that, do you run it long so you have a lighter car for that final run?
Yeah, if I'm Trenton and Christian, I pit as soon as the window opens. Maybe one lap later, just in case there are green-white checkers. But as soon as your window opens, you want to get in there because realistically, you can stay on the lead lap if you have a good tandem.
I would agree with that. But again, kind of the same thing with what we've touched on. Not many people have been able to make that second groove work. I don't know if they're just not pushing, out, full bore to maybe not tip their cap and tip their hand of what they can do in that groove. But this is where I always end up losing the races when it comes down to pit strategy. I just don't ever know what to do. As Spencer Hardison, remember we mentioned, was stuck in that second groove. Himself, Jonathan Woods, Mr. Bustler, and Kevin Young, actually Tanner Johnson as well, all lost the draft, it looks like. And Justin Dietrich might be losing the draft as well, running in, I believe, what is going to be 23rd, excuse me. And Matt Hummel trying to hold on as well to Eric Stamp's rear bumper and hopefully catch his draft and come back through up to that lead group.
And you were talking about someone maybe trying to get that outside work, and we saw Tom Bourne earlier in the race trying to make the outside work. He's sitting in 8th right now. He's got plenty of cars behind him. It's just a matter is if he makes the move, how many are going with him?
Yeah, it's again, he experimented with it, so he definitely knows what he can do and maybe how many cars he can get. Like I said, the max I've seen, I would say, has been 8 or so. I think from 8th, you're too far back. Again, that's just personal. opinion on that, but he does have teammates: Bronson Stafford, Joey Chapman, Shane Terrian. So Shane's a little bit ahead of him. Bronson as well. Joey back in 13th, so he's actually a little bit behind Mr. Bourne, but he's got the teammates in front of him. So I think maybe if they can get Joey up a little bit closer, they could make a run maybe before the pit stops if they want. But we're going to be watching that lap 75 mark because, again, obviously we know from there they would be able to make it.
It may just be the Bourne name that you're just begging for action. Jason Bourne, it's an action movie. You got Tom Bourne. Maybe he's just wanting to make some action out there.
Would have liked to have seen the triple, or sorry, I missed the 777, 007 on that car. But it depends on what kind of action you're into. He's maybe hoping the action of grabbing the win, but sometimes the negative action is maybe you're upside down and pulling I believe it'd be an Elliott Sadler from Dega, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, that was a terrible crash. I remember that like the back of my hand.
Or the negative action of Juan Pablo Montoya and a jet dryer.
Oh no.
Ooh, bad bump. A little bit behind Bourne. It was Brockton and who is that? Caleb Smith, I believe, with the bad bump. Got Caleb a little sideways in the tri-oval. So Caleb's going to go to the second groove and probably fall to the back of this lead pack. This actually looks like somebody's blinking. I want to say that's league owner Logan Brakey. Yeah, he is. Oh, he's back. I will say, too, talking about the blinking issues, at a super speed, well, it's scary at any track, but I will say a super speedway, when you're getting bumped and pushed and, you're going as hard as you can, that is one of the most unsettling things you can see is a guy blinking either in your mirror or out your front windshield.
Yeah, and apparently from hearing pre-race, they like to call him Logan Blinky, so it must be something that occurs quite often with him, which unfortunately is the nature that comes with iRacing, and with it being an online sim, you're always going to have those internet issues come out of almost nowhere.
Yeah, you're not kidding. I know myself, I've had a couple issues with the whole blinky thing, but
yeah, weren't you leading a race at Daytona when your internet went out before?
Yeah. 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 Not a good time. But again, we mentioned earlier the whole love-hate relationship thing. That was one of the nights where I was mad and kind of told Daytona I don't ever want to see you again. But here we are. I'm in the booth this time, not driving, so the whole blinky thing isn't an issue for me. But wouldn't be surprised come February when we're back here ourselves, turning the wheels and strategizing, to have some sort of issue. Knock on wood, hopefully it doesn't happen, but you never know.
I'm for sure going to have an issue. This track hates me and my internet.
I think you're going to break your wheel. I'm sorry, that was bad. I apologize, Logan.
So cheesy.
I'm sorry. It's you got to throw it in at some point. There's more, but it's the first time that you guys have me, so I don't want to throw all the bad puns and jokes out there. One's enough. I'll refrain from making any more.
I mean, you already messed up and said that Bourne was 007. It's Bond.
Damn. Well, I'm gonna head out, guys. This Will Bustler's gonna go another lap down. There's a lot of action movies, all right? I'm more of a sports guy. I watch action every now and then, but yeah, I'm more of a sports guy, so I apologize. And Logan, I apologize for the bad joke with your last name. I'll let Christian handle the jokes.
I'm terrible at them. Don't let me be.
Well, you gotta do something, because your driving doesn't cut it.
Oh, okay. We'll go back up front here. Trenton Jump still leading the pack here. You got his teammate Christian behind him, and Joseph Lester, he's kind of new to the front because I don't think we called him out at all during the first run.
He rolled off 21st. Shane rolled off from 17th, and Bronson 14th, and even Jacob Grant actually from 23rd. Actually, there's a couple guys, which, again, I mentioned it pre-race. Obviously it's important. You want to start up front. It definitely makes your race easier to strategize, and you don't have to worry about making the moves in the second groove and whatnot. But Robert Sherwood, P10 in this front group, started 28th. Even behind him, Brockton Packard started 26th. He's 11th. Just obviously, so you can be like Trenton and Christian, start first and third, and put a stranglehold on the race and stay up front the whole time, or you can be like Joseph Lester from 21st, and a couple of guys I just mentioned earlier come from the back or mid pack.
If you're gonna make a move from behind the leader, when do you want to make that move?
I'll answer your question with a question. Are we talking pre-pit stop or end of the race?
For this scenario, both. What do you do pre-pit stop? Do you try to get in first, or do you just fall in behind the leader, and then at the end of the race, do you want to be behind or out front controlling?
I've always been one pre-pit stop to come down first, and then obviously you want your teammates and stuff like that. It was a bad push. Get somebody out of line.
Was that possibly the 8 of Jared Ziegler? And big one! And it was the number 3 and number 8. There's the big one. We knew it was going to happen, and it has happened. The 94 also involved there. Jared Ziegler, a lot of damage. Eric Stamp, slow, but I don't think he's involved. Will Bustler also there.
Justin Teal, heavy front end damage.
Take a replay and see how this happened. I think you said it was a bad bump. Maybe Joey Chapman to the 88 might be where it came from. Yeah, it looks like the 88 went to check up, and yeah, that's unfortunate. And then the 8 tags the 3, and around they go.
That started coming down the backstretch. Actually, they were wrecking off a turn 4 as well.
Yeah, that all started though from a checkup mid backstretch, and it just kept going the whole way until the exit of turn 4. As you saw the 94 spin out of turn 4.
My man was wheeling. He missed the first wreck, tried saving it. I'll say he saved it. I'll give that one to him. Old Gilberto. He was wheeling it. He saved it. Little wall tap on the right rear and the right side of his car, but for the most part, he held on to it. But we mentioned it in the last wreck we had, the fast repairs. Do any of those guys that were just in this wreck have any fast repairs left? As unfortunately for Mr. Bustler, he's going to take the lucky dog here and now be 1 lap down as he was 2 down. So unfortunate, but looks like everybody's taking 4 tires for the most part up front anyway.
Yeah, right side's up on Trenton. Now left side's going up. That's a lot of cars going to pass him, though.
Oh, here we go. So we're going to say 2 tires because Trenton's left sides were going up as he was getting passed. But you mentioned it before that yellow. Joseph Lester hadn't really called his name much yet. Really, right before that caution, we kind of started mentioning him. 2 tires. He will not be the leader. Actually, there you go. From a lap down in damage, Tanner Johnson stays out. He is your leader right now.
Yeah, I wonder if maybe he's thinking that either way you're going to have to pit one more time here. So just stay out and pit early. Not sure if maybe that's what he's thinking. But I don't think they can make it from here to the end on fuel. Could be wrong.
I think
it's stretching.
You might be able to, because I know they were saying like 24 coming to 25, and that's maybe without saving at all, maybe a little bit of saving, but who knows if you save, we'll just say maximum fuel and all that, what you actually could do. We've proved it. I believe it was actually for your league race. if you can play your cards right, and have different guys lead, and you kind of switch around, who's pushing and who's leading, you can stretch it. I think my group got about 3 to 4 laps more than what we had originally thought, and that was again stretching it, but that was also playing the games of having different guys lead and push and all that stuff. But so interesting here. I mentioned it before the yellow. Matt Hummel started second, hadn't been inside the top 15 since the drop of the green. Trenton led hands down the most laps so far tonight, will find himself 7th. Teammate Christian will be 10th. Actually, Christian will be on the bottom, so he should be, I believe, 9th or 11th. We'll see once scoring updates. Look who is 2 Christians outside, though. Mr. Hummel.
Yeah, the team is together now. Has Matt finally going to join these other 2?
So now it gets interesting. We mentioned at the last restart when Trenton was not the leader, and does he get aggressive and push around? What's going to happen here? Now, assuming that Matt can get in line and these guys can link up, because obviously Christian and Trenton are already basically nose to tail. Will we see that second line finally be able to do something?
I don't know. It's going to be interesting to find out as the field comes off of turn 4, about to get the green flag, as we wait for that Audi-looking pace car to pull off of the track and into pit road, and it will. And
he's Audi 5-0.
Okay.
I had to throw it in there. I got to try and make up for my bad joke. Was that another bad one? I apologize.
Oh, look at this. Oh, man. It's getting dicey now. You can tell everyone wants a piece of the lead.
I hate to say it, but I don't think we're done wrecking. I think the intensity meter is turned all the way up. That dial cannot go any further. And I think we're going to see some aggressive pushes here.
Yeah, I think it was the 5. Oh, there it goes, the 5. Oh, is that going to be a wreck? He saves it. Wow.
Oh, there we go.
Nope, they're wrecking it back.
It was Hummel.
Oh, did he save it?
He's still wrecking.
Wow, he's still wrecking here.
Oh, in the wall, the 8 car.
No caution. Wow.
They're still trying to sort it out.
I'm amazed that he was able to save that, but unfortunate for everyone. I think behind 10th place, everyone behind 10th is now going to lose that front pack due to that non-caution.
I'm going to butcher this name. I apologize in advance. You can correct me if you know the proper pronunciation, but Jared Ziegler?
Yes, that is correct.
Nice. I would definitely say he had the short end of that situation. Yeah, I know he got bounced around like a pinball in the whole pinball machine, and he's going to lose the draft. It's actually Justin Teal. I asked the question about the fast repairs. He is still sitting on pit road. He's going to go 4 laps down now. But, yeah, looks like, just like you called it. Actually, I would say 10th. Yeah, you were actually right. 11th on back looks to be outside of that lead pack.
Yeah, and going back to Ziggler, the only reason I know the pronunciation, WWE, Dolph Ziggler. You gotta know that.
Different spelling though, isn't it? He doesn't have the E in it.
Maybe, I don't know. Anyway,
I thought it was Z-I-double-G. The E threw me off, so I wasn't sure, but I tried, and hopefully we're right.
I mean, you hit it.
Jared, if I'm not, you can yell at me in Discord after the race. I'll allow it.
Nah, you're good. You got it.
Interesting note.
Just don't call
I've touched
Caleb.
on it. I've touched on it most of the race. We'll touch on it again. Track time's down to 85. Definitely the coolest it's been. Not sure what the tire wear has been. Obviously we've seen 4 tires, 2 tires, even no tires on the stops. Assuming they have to pit again, because you couldn't save, I think it was the 2 extra laps that you needed. I would assume no tires on this last stop.
Yeah. I mean, maybe with the people that took no tires, maybe take 2. But really you don't need tires here. So I say no tires, splash of gas, and get you to the end.
Pull the old Lightning McQueen. No tires, just gas.
And speaking of Caleb, he was the number or position 11, and now moving up and has caught that front pack.
And I believe I just heard Tanner say he's pitting this time. I believe. I missed the beginning of the radio comm, as we are now one big happy family back in this pack, and we'll wait and see if Tanner comes down pit road. That would hand lead over to Austin Jordan for the first time tonight from his 9th starting spot.
As he will come down pit road. I don't know if anyone's going to follow him. If no one does, this is going to be catastrophic for Tanner. And no one does come down with him.
I mean, that's obviously it's the risky run doing that, but you almost have to. You know, from where he came from, that's. I don't want to say it was the wrong call. I think if I was in his shoes and came from a lap down and wanted to try something, I would have done the same thing. It's might not work in the end, but you never know. If he can get out and get a hold of this large train's draft and not fall too far back in that line, he might be okay in the end. We never know.
And it looks like there's going to be a new person at the back of the field. Has Brockton Packard loses his position in line and is now just getting shuffled to the back.
Spencer Hardison has lost the draft in 23rd. Everybody else is in this lead pack, so it looks like it's 24 strong with Mr. Bustler being the caboose on this train. As I mentioned, new leader for the first time tonight, Austin Jordan. And we mentioned the tandeming. Joseph Lester, I saw it last lap and even this time down the backstretch. He gets hooked on that bumper and they pull out maybe 2-3 car lengths on Robert Sherwood.
Yeah, and that's a name we haven't mentioned other than in grid. He's been quiet, and sometimes at Daytona, being quiet is what you want. As he's sitting in 3rd place, in position to potentially win this thing if it comes down to it.
And is Austin? He is. Okay, so Joseph's teammate Austin Story, so keep an eye on that. 2nd and 5th right now on track. Do they get hooked up and then pit at the same time? If they don't pit with everybody, we're inside the window, so you can pit. If you can't make it anyway, you can pit any time from here on out, and you'll be able to make it to the end. So we're gonna have to watch those team alliances.
Another thing you got to take into account is those manufacturer alliances too. I know a lot of people don't take it serious, but there are some people that will see, if they're racing in a Ford and they see a Ford in front of them, they'll push them to the end. It's that manufacturer like bonding almost.
I'm listening to the radio. There is a lot of games being played right now. A lot of guys not happy with the huge checkups that are happening throughout the field getting into turn 3, and there was another one getting into turn 2 right there.
Going up high here.
And there it is. Joseph Lester saving fuel very hard, checking the field up, and we're going to see some guys getting aggressive to try and get by.
And here we go, 3 wide, mid-pack. Jonathan Woods, looks like. Going 3 wide on the outside. Is this going to be where the big one happens?
Here we go. Battle for the lead.
Right in the middle.
Battle for the lead. The guys that I said, would we see it happen? Yeah. They're missing a teammate, but Trenton and Christian, here we go. Joseph Lester saving fuel extremely hard. And the rest of the field, got notice of his warning, we'll say, and now they're all trying to join Trenton and Christian in that second groove and, get around.
You said that if anyone could make it work, it was going to be them. And Trenton out there just, doing it for Dale, taking the lead again.
Oh, we're getting aggressive. We might see the big one
Oh.
happen, and I'm thinking the big one.
Yeah, the 5 and 22, very close there, going into turn 1. 22 trying to make the outside work here. Robert Sherwood and Jacob Grant trying to make the outside work there.
Well, we'll have to see what happens. If these two can tandem at any point in this race and pull away, I think now would be the time. You know there's guys saving fuel extremely hard behind you. So that, to me, tells me that they did not save enough. They cannot make it. Like I said, if I could tandem, now would be the time for me to show it and start to put a gap on this field. As Tanner Johnson, remember we mentioned him a couple laps ago, he is now on the bottom getting ready to go another lap down. Or sorry, his first lap down.
And you got to wonder if maybe he's going to come into factor here with these guys being too wide. We've seen it before. Lap cars holding their line, and the leaders just can't make their way around them without wrecking.
Here we go.
28. That was scary for Austin Jordan, as he had a little wiggle going into 3.
Let's see what happens. I don't think they're going to be able to get up. They're going to have to stay behind him.
Yeah, stuck behind the lap car, which is kind of smart by Tanner, because now he can lead, and if the caution does come out, he's going to be on the lead lap. But
that's if he can hold it, though. Robert Sherwood,
yeah,
and Jacob Grant have stayed hooked up since they tried getting around the 44, and they've pulled alongside of Trenton and Christian.
and
maybe they get ahead.
On that outside, you got Jonathan Woods, and Eric Stamp. They were both involved in an earlier accident, and look at this. They're right there in what, 6th and 8th? Eric Stamp cuts the nose off of the 18.
I think Trenton and Christian were just toying with them. They let him get up next to him. It's like, oh, come on, guys, come on, you got it. Almost like that what is it, Geico commercial? I got you $1. And they hit turn 3 and 4 in the front stretch, and they just put a gap back on that outside line for the time being.
Yeah, and this is helping Trenton save fuel if he has to, because staying behind that 23 is going to allow him to save fuel. Not sure if we can get a live tracker on Trenton and see if maybe he's not going full throttle.
Well, we got somebody breaking off the pit. I believe that's the 12 of Caleb Smith. Yes, it is. By himself, though.
And we got great telemetry that was on the screen there, showing how much the wheels turning. That was pretty cool there by our producer. And while we got the time, we want to thank our producer, Josh May, for putting this on and allowing us to commentate. He's doing a great job with the camera so far. As we got a battle for the lead now, has Jonathan, he's making the outside work.
I can tell you right now, Trenton is not saving fuel. He is got this thing revved up and trying to keep this lead as we're coming down to just over 10 laps to go.
And look at the melee behind them here as they're 2-3 wide toward the back.
It's interesting, but just looking at the different telemetry, our producer has 5th gear. When I get on board, it says 4. I'm not sure if that's an iRacing bug or something on the different ends, but yeah, like I said, they were revved out, making sure they stayed out front.
Almost trouble there as the 3 car went underneath. I think that was the 94. Almost trouble there. As now Will Bustler going to block the 3 as the 3 tried making a move on his outside. But Will Bustler shut the door on him.
I'll be honest here. If I'm Bustler, I know earlier I said, he knows what he has to do to put himself in position to win. Only being 1 lap down, Tanner leading the pack for what I would say, Trenton is comfortable letting the lappers stay out in front of him because we saw him do it earlier with, I believe, Kevin Young. Correct me if I'm wrong there.
No, it was Trenton with Kevin Young.
So I wouldn't have thrown the block. I would have, maybe stay on the bottom, let them guys get by, and work my way to the back of this pack. If knowing my car is clean enough to hang on to the draft, I would stay at the back of the pack. That way, if a big one does happen, when these guys start to get aggressive at the end of this race, you can check up. There's nobody behind you. You get the lucky dog back, and now instead of running 26 one lap down, you're, looking like you're, the king of strategy and playing your cards right, and now you're all of a sudden back on the lead lap, have a chance to win this thing.
Yeah, and Will Bustler did find his way to the bottom now, as we are almost all single file throughout the entire front pack, if not all single file.
More contact back around Bustler, as that is not what you want to see if you're Will. As Caleb Smith, I'm going to assume, just took fuel only. We have a couple more cars on pit road. Spencer Harbison. Again, if I butcher any names, you can yell at me in Discord. He's on pit road. Here comes more.
Here comes a lot of cars. The three leading them in.
Oh, he's in the grass.
97 way out in the grass there, yeah. That's the 97 of... Let's see here. Mike,
he missed his box?
Yeah, he missed his box. Wow. It's either Tellier or Tellier. He misses his box.
I got so distracted in him missing his box, I didn't even see if they took tires or not. And it was fuel only for everybody. Here comes Trenton. He calls out pitting in.
Trenton coming in. He's leading an entire pack here. Some being extra aggressive, trying to gain ground. They're going to lock it up. I don't know if Trenton might have been speeding.
If my math is correct, he was good. It was close, but he was good.
Wow, 58 at the line. Great job by Trenton getting the most out of that pit.
Oh, look like somebody got the wall behind him. Yes.
Yeah, the 45. Austin Story into the inside wall of pit road.
And he's taking tires.
Oh, disaster for Austin Story. As he's going to lose his pack.
Not Austin Story. It was... Let's see, who was that?
That was Austin Story. It's Story. Can't talk.
Oh, yes, it was. Okay, you're right.
This isn't my first time. I knew who it was.
Another perfect pit stop by the teammates, as they are well out in front of Robert Sherwood. But again, I mentioned the tandem. Right now they're sitting pretty if they can tandem. But you got to imagine Sherwood and them guys, hopefully 5 cars if Bronson can get caught back up to them, which, again, assuming he will be able to. They got those 5 cars trying to run down 2.
Yeah, and those 2 cars, are they going to have enough fuel? Because he's pushing 190 miles per hour, so he is not saving anything, as it looks like maybe he's coming in this lap. Yeah, he is. The front 2 coming in now, giving up that lead, so that's going to put it back in the hands of Trenton.
Yeah, with Bustler. So, your bets are made at this point. You're either going to make or break it. And there is no guarantee that we stay green.
And here comes Trenton out of turn 4, and it's a 2-car breakaway as Trenton and Christian still together and just pulling away from that little, what is that, 5-car group? Yeah, 5-car group behind them.
They did lose 9/10 though. Christian a 46.9 to Robert Sherwood's 46 flat, just about.
This is going to potentially come down to the wire, because you got to think, as here comes the 22 about to make a move to the outside. Oh, he blocks it. Oh my.
Honestly, risky move, but I like it. I think with the run they had, you almost had to do it.
That was insane. Christian absolutely closed the door on the 22 car of Robert Sherwood, and I'm sure Robert may have some words for Christian after the race. if not right now for his spotter.
Caution!
Oh, caution. Let's go ahead and find out where that came from. Because it looks like Matt Hummel slow.
Yep.
Maybe he's involved here? Yeah.
Coming out of the tri-oval.
Just gets bumper hooked by the 28, I believe that was.
Yep,
The
Austin
28
Jordan.
of Austin Jordan turns Matt Hummel, and they scatter behind him.
It has not been Matt's night.
It
The
hasn't.
team swept the top 3 in qualifying, and he got hung on the outside, and he's been struggling the rest of the night to put a decent run together. But now back to the block by Christian. I mean, you of all people will know I'm not a fan of the blocks. I think they're extremely dangerous, especially on iRacing. Obviously, real life we see what happens when they throw the blocks, but I think iRacing is worse in my opinion.
Yeah.
But knowing how dominant those two have been to be able to stay out front and control that bottom line, and even the race for that matter, I think it had to be done. You know, you throw the block, you slow that line up, slow the run up, and stay out front like they did. You pretty much have the race in hand, I would argue. And that, I mentioned it earlier, Mr. Bustler should be the lucky dog right here. But back to my original point, obviously before the caution, you know, I think that pretty much has the race sealed. Unless people were saving their cards for a late race run, you pretty much know how this is going to end. You know, you got Christian and Trenton; they're all lined up, pretty much settle the race between themselves. Now with the caution, they're going to be first and second. Are the games going to be played? You know, will these guys not push them? Maybe try and help themselves get a run to the finish.
You know, a question I have: are there green white checkers? Because if not, this thing might be over.
That is a good question. We probably should have read the rule book on that one, but
probably, or at least asked if that was a thing, green white checkers. But there's still single file here at lap 98.
We're gonna find out. Mr. Bustler back on the lead lap. So I mean, we know Hummel has used up his fast repair. I'm assuming, actually, I don't know. Yes, because that car still has left rear damage, so he's used up his fast repair. So assuming Bustler is damage-free, full power, he will be faster than Hummel. I don't know. I would say anything but the current Cup car. I guess now, since the season is officially over, we can say the old Cup car and this car to be able to come from 20th on back in a green-white checkered situation is possible. In these cars, from what we've seen tonight, I don't know if it's doable. I think if anybody can do it, it would be Will, or I'll toot their horn for him, Trenton and Christian. But again, I just don't know.
Well, another name you got to take into account for, we talked about him earlier, making all those crazy moves. Tom Bourne, maybe he's a person that can come from 10th and get this thing done. We've seen him testing that outside a lot earlier in the race. Maybe he's able to get the outside working here late in the race and potentially get the win.
So Will just pitted. Obviously got a lucky dog come back around. Pitted, took 4 tires. One thing that will help him more than anything is this track temp. You know, again, it was 100. I believe it was pushing 100 degrees in practice and I think high 90s in qualifying. It is down to 83. And we
will have a green white checkered.
Yeah, pace car lights are off. 3 green white checkers. So if we don't get it done here, we got 2 more. But back to us about the track temp. Obviously, the lower the track temp, more grip you'll have. You can make the moves. Excuse my language, but a little more ballsy. You know, you can go out, be more aggressive with your blocks, be more aggressive with, we'll say you're pushing and shoving. More so than you would do if the track temp was still in the 90s or almost pushing 100. You know, the hotter track temp, you get slicker, especially if you don't take tires. That's where I would say your tires would come into more of a factor. But again, I don't know without another caution if Bustler can come from, you know, outside the top 20. to do anything. I mean, we'll see. You know, hopefully he can prove me wrong and put on a show coming from the back. But I think Trenton taking the top here was a smart move, and these guys are in trouble.
Yeah, he's definitely going to play gamesmanship with his teammate Christian. Probably going to lay off the start, let Trenton get down in front of him, and these guys are just going to tandem away again.
I hope we don't see a tandem. I forget what year it was at Dega. I don't want to see a finish. Oh, not a finish like that, because the finish was good, but the whole tandem nonsense, I hope we don't see it. But we're going to find out.
Yes, we are. As the pace car pulls off, we are going to go green flag racing, potentially for the last time, as we have a green-white checkered here. Oh, we got a car off the pace, maybe out of fuel, the 18.
As Bronson was not on Trenton coming to the green, but it may have worked in Trenton's favor. He got a good jump. Christian, we're going to assume, let him back down, and Eric Stamp, Bronson gets down behind Eric. So we're going to see what happens here, as they are starting to kind of gap the 88 of Brockton Packard, and they're actually starting to leave the 22 and the 5s. They're starting to battle. We're going through 3 and 4 for what could be coming to the white flag to end this race.
Oh, the 29 hard.
The big one.
And this is the big one. We got at least 7 cars involved in this one. Oh, we got more. They're still piling in.
And I mentioned it before. Man. He was at the back, gets checked up, misses it. Mr. Bustler, looking good.
Tom Bourne involved, Caleb Smith involved, a lot of damage to them. Mike Tellier, the names just keep going. Tanner Johnson, engine damage, and he might be out of this thing. Has the 3 of Joey Chapman, also no front end.
Yeah, neither one for Bourne. Caleb Smith doesn't have one.
Has broken his car.
Mike's got no front end.
This was a massive pileup, and as the replay has been showing here, it all started with just a little bumper hook to Jason, and he went around.
And you almost expect it.
Logan, I mean.
You know, we mentioned it all race, and the guys seem to get single file pretty good. I believe it was around lap 50 or 60 we had a restart. You started seeing a little bit more aggressive, moves to get to the bottom. A little bit, less give, more take. Well, now it's green white checker time. Now you've spent, an hour 15 in the car, strategizing, putting yourself in what you hope is the position to go for the win. Well, now that whole give and take thing, that's out the window. It's all take. You're done being nice. You're done giving any amount of inches to guys. You're thinking about yourself. Unless you're obviously Trenton and Christian, then you're still playing the team game more than likely. But you're trying to position yourself in the best spot to win. Now, I mentioned it before. 3 green white checkers, 3 chances. But now you've used the first one. Now you got 2 left. That whole give and take thing, again, that's gone. Now you're just taking. Could we see this whole 3 chances go down to 1 and maybe none?
We have seen that in the past in real life, but people have been very upset with that. I happen to remember a Kevin Harvick incident where he did not go on a restart, caused a massive pileup, and the race ended right then and there. That's what I think of when I remember the 3 green-white checkered rule. Never a fan of the 3 green-white checkered rule, but in some cases it does work.
So the 97 stayed out, didn't pit at all after being involved in that wreck. Just popped the motor on the backstretch.
Interesting.
So his night will be done.
Yeah, a couple cars got repaired here. Logan did get his fast repair. Tom Bourne, Caleb Smith. But unfortunately for Tanner Johnson and Joey Chapman, both sitting in their stall still, already a lap down, so their chances of winning have gone out the window, unfortunately.
I mentioned the previous champions as well. Those were my 2 guys to watch. If I had to pick 2 guys to watch, those were the 2 names that I gave. well, right now they're still, we'll say, sitting pretty. Obviously, Trenton is going to take the top again, looking the prettiest out front as he has most of the night. But even Shane running 7th, so still obviously has a chance. But I think if you're going to have any chance, you're going to have to, especially if you're Eric and these guys and Bronson in the second row, you have to get on these guys' bumpers and not let them get hooked up.
And another thing you mentioned earlier, our pal Will Bustler, that we know from another league, he moves up to 16th after missing that wreck, and he still has a chance at this. Of course, no favoritism from the booth at all.
Nah.
I think you've been saying that Trenton's going to win from the first lap. I think. I don't know.
It's something about coming off the championship. If anybody's got momentum, it's got to be the previous season champ. I'm just going to flat out say it. He's dominated this race, himself and Christian. They've shown if they get out front, you're not passing us. We have the connection, the draft knowledge, and capability to hold the front. And I think if Trenton gets clear and gets down again, you're going to see these two put the stranglehold on this race.
Yeah, and you got to think that they're going to be aggressively blocking too, as the green flag is back out, and this time Christian gets a good restart. Oh, the 61 3 wide.
There we go. That could be the race-winning move right there as he gets back to the bottom. Now, I would assume Christian's going to push really hard. That may even change up his strategy. I'm sure if Trenton got down in front of him, that he were going to be okay, just push and get a good 1-2. As they are wrecking in the back.
Oh, and here we go. Third green-white checkered.
A quick checkup. It looked like the 94 just jumped one of the road course rumble strips. That was, I'm sure that scared him a little bit. These things aren't the best jumpers. I know some people like the jumpy trucks, they call them. These things are not jumpy cars by any means.
And that wreck there, just an aggressive Tom Bourne, maybe gets into the back of Kevin Young on the right. Oh no, Kevin pulled up the track a little bit and just cut off Tom, and it went from there. I mean, he moved up ever so slightly, and like you said earlier, you get those inches whenever you're side drafting, and if anyone moves up the track slightly, that's what happens right here.
Actually, riding on board, it looked like. I'll try and listen in again. Okay, yeah, I didn't hear it that time. I thought at first instance Kevin might have checked up a little bit to maybe let the 29 of Logan get maybe in line and get those guys lined up, but I did not hear it once I listened to it again. But yeah, not quite sure what happened there as far as maybe trying to force the issue with the pushing, but obviously maybe to get lined up and get going as quick as you can. But yeah, I know you had said it, earlier, cautions breed cautions. We're on the last green white checker.
A lot of cars pitting, not enough fuel to make it to the end. We did see on that first green white checkered someone run out of fuel right in the tri-oval. We could have a iRacing version of the Kevin Harvick situation where his car's just not up to power on the final restart and a caution comes out due to it. We could see that happen.
I'm not going to toot my own horn, but Mr. Bustler's in the top 10.
Yeah, Bustler has made his way to the front officially, and from being one lap down, I think earlier, possibly almost 2 laps down, to being in the top 10, he's got to be basically singing to his spotter right now.
I'm just going to go back and say it. That move again, I mentioned it when he first did it, could be the race-winning move.
Yeah, that move by Bronson Stafford, that was very aggressive, but at the same time needed, because so far this race, it has been lights for the 46 and 48 of Trenton and Christian, and now you don't see them anywhere in the top 10 because they had to pit.
Yeah, and they're not even going to be lined up because of how far back Trenton was. Christian was able to get out, or excuse me, get into his box, get his service, and leave. And they're going to have Eric Stamp and Broxton Packard in between them still. So even with them pitting, it really didn't help them. Besides obviously being able to finish the race, now they're not going to be lined up again. So it's going to take them a little bit to get back lined up, if they even do get lined back up. You know, there's no guarantee they get lined back up to be able to win this race.
I tell you what, this thing is winding down to be a great finish for the season opener of the newly named Shake and Bake Racing.
Yes,
I believe it is. Yeah. So the newly formed partnership definitely off to a great start here.
You know, and this, you know, we talked about the excitement when we were talking about Bourne. Not that you want to see green white checkers, but you know, it adds excitement. Get cautions, bunch the field back up, make some aggressive moves. But you know, again, now you're at your last chance. I think, not that we haven't seen the aggressive moves, but I think you're still going to see them. You know, you're not going to take it easy because, oh, it's the last green white checker. You know, let's take it easy and finish race on a green. I think you're going to see the same aggressive moves, even maybe more so now that it's the last green white checkered. You know, looking at some of the teammates you got up front, you got Bronson leading. His teammate, or I guess the biggest helper you would assume anyway, would be Shane up there in fourth. I almost thought he would have taken the top, but it did not. And
do you think maybe Shane saw what happened on that last restart and he may try shooting the gap here?
It's possible, but you know, you never know. Bustler is going to restart ninth, I believe. Yeah, P9.
Actually, it looks like 7th.
Is it 7th?
It looks like 7th.
Yes, you're right. P7. The pace car makes that left-hand turn to pit road, and we are back underway for what is our final attempt at the green-white checkered.
Final time the green flag is going to fly has now Shane Terrian pulling down to the bottom here. I thought maybe he would make it 3 wide. He doesn't. He's going to go into third here. Oh, contact! He saves it, but the field doesn't.
Oh, there they go.
And huge crash.
And it's Trenton flipping.
Oh, Will Bustler flipping. Oh, no. That's going to be the end of the race, but we need some emergency crews out to turn 1 and 2 for Will Bustler.
Bustler and Jacob Grant, unfortunately, are going to have to call for the tow truck. So their night's obviously over, but definitely over, as they will have to tow.
But the story here, Bronson Stafford with that amazing 3 wide move on the restart, going to come by to take the white flag under caution. He's just got to hope that he has enough fuel to make it around and get the checkered flag.
And his teammate Shane should come home in third, I believe.
Yeah, former champion Shane Terrian finishes third here in the season opener. And we go to our previous season champion. I believe he was involved in that one, Trenton Jump.
Oh, yeah, he was flipping as well. I didn't see Will flipping. I was too busy watching Trenton flip basically from the middle of the corner to the exit.
Yeah,
and I tell you what, Matt Hummel had the damage, used the fast repair already. We thought he was done. Comes home with a top 10.
That's impressive right there. I mean, he comes home with the top 10. Car's not in one piece though, so the team owner may not be a little, too happy with that because he's got no front end at all.
Christian Gomez was right in the middle of that wreck, made it through. Looks like he's gonna come home 8th. But man, I still can't get over that move. Like, I wouldn't have made it myself, but and again, there's a reason I'm not driving.
Tell you what, as they come across the line here, Bronson Stafford gonna take the checkered flag here at Daytona. Impressive move. We definitely have to talk to him about that move that he made.
I'm still in awe. I would have made the move. I think you would have made the move. But
yeah, you know me, I would have made that move.
Like I said, there's a reason though that we're not driving. We're in the booth. It's got me kind of wanting to get back in the ride. But what a move! Paid off. Caution comes out. They get one more shot. Caution comes out again in turn one, and the race-winning move.
All right, I'm not sure what our producer wants here. If he may take a commercial break real quick before we talk to our top three. Not sure if that's what he wants to do here, but we're going to get to talk to our top three, all of them, here very shortly. Commercial here as we are going to talk to our top three finishers. And Josh, I believe you're going to want to talk to Bronson at the end. So why don't you talk to our past champion, Shane Terrian, our third place finisher, if we can pull him up real quick.
Yes, sir. I'm going to pull him up.
I got him here for you.
Shane, Josh, and Christian in the booth. You got a copy?
I got you.
Man, I'm just going to let you know straight up. I cannot wait to talk to your teammate Bronson on that move to secure his win. But I want to talk to you first. Started 17th, wind up third. first question, I guess, as always at Daytona, what was your strategy coming in? Did you want to ride it out or kind of get to the front and control the race?
Well, I didn't really have a choice but to ride it out. I mean, uh, I don't know. This wasn't really a race. If you think about it, it was just ride because you couldn't make any moves because there's no tape on these cars. So the second you pull out, it's not breaking the air and you drop 10 miles an hour. So it's like I would have loved to be in the front and control the field, but you just literally could not get there.
Yeah, we personally thought it was just kind of you guys wanting to, I guess, survive and make it to the end, so you had a chance to go for the win. But I guess now that you mentioned it, it makes sense. No tape, can't break the air, and really can't go anywhere. But did you use your fast car at all? I think you did,
Uh,
right?
no, I did not. I didn't need to. Um, but I I'm surprised I didn't. I almost got turned there on the final green white checkered. So, but no, I didn't have to use it, and we used fuel strategy to get up there. I know Bronson made that move, but he would have to lead anyway because they had to pit. But yeah, I'm just stoked the team won tonight. After I, I don't know, this was the strangest super speed race I think I've ever done in my entire life. So I don't really know what to say. Like I'm happy with third, but it's like, what the heck?
Yeah, it definitely helps though. When a teammate wins and then you can join them on the podium. Although I'm sure you wanted to be one step higher on that podium in second. But I know you mentioned that last restart, you almost actually got involved yourself. I mentioned it to Christian coming to the green. I was surprised Bronson didn't line up, in line with you. Was that kind of a team call, or was he kind of thinking, you stay up there, I'll stay on the bottom, and hopefully one of us come out on top.
Um, we thought about it, but we have to go on green for super speedways per the rule book. If we could to control it ourselves, we were going to line up together and just tandem and just go. But we couldn't do that, so I just told him stay there. There's no point. And then I would have liked to be behind him because last season it was the opposite, flip flopped, and he turned me off turn 4 on the white flag. So I would have loved to, at least try and return that favor. But it just didn't work. I wish we could have controlled the restarts. It would have helped with teammates and things like that, and probably would have avoided some of those wrecks on the restarts there because people are checking up, trying to time the green flag instead of, you know, the leaders being able to go and then everyone's tacking up. But, you know, learn from it. It's Logan's first time running a league, so and I mean, I'm just happy to be back. It's been it's going to be fun trying out these cars. I've never raced them until tonight.
That's kind of messed up. Talking about returning the favor, turning a teammate. But looking ahead, you leave a super speedway. I believe next week we're going to Auto Club, and I know you said you're kind of new to these cars, but what are you kind of expecting, and I guess we'll say hoping for now leaving the super speedway?
Um, Hopefully we can do multiple lanes. I don't know. I'd have to look at the setup and maybe bring it up to the admins. And if I see no tape again on these things, I would say switch the setups up because if it's going to be a one-line racetrack at Auto Club, it's not going to be fun because Auto Club needs to have multiple grooves. The track is so much fun when it is. So from what I've seen on streams with these cars, it's always one line, and I don't know if it's because of the tape or something, but gonna probably switch the setups here a little bit to make the racing a little bit more competitive.
I will 100% agree with you. That place, if you can get side by side and three wide and four and five, it's absolutely a blast. But congratulations, man, on your third place finish again. Probably would have liked to have been one step higher, but can't complain with third. Who would you like to thank for your finish tonight?
Yeah, well, first I'm gonna thank Sky Motorsports. We got the win. For some reason, we're on a weird streak where the inaugural race of a new league that we joined, we somehow win. We've done this for like 8 years straight now. I don't know how it happens or why, but we're still going strong with that streak tonight. And my sponsors, have controller, FRN, and the cage, and I really want to thank Logan for letting me back because I have an I rating higher than what I'm supposed to for this league, but because I'm a past champion, I got grandfathered in, so really appreciate them for letting me in, and I'm excited to go back and watch you guys' broadcast, see how that looks.
Well, hopefully we put on a good show for you guys. It was our first time actually working together as a team. Hopefully, like I said, you guys enjoy. And if you have any pointers or positive critiques and stuff like that, obviously let us know, and hopefully we'll work on it. But congratulations again, man, and hopefully we'll see you next week.
Yeah, thank you.
That was your third place finisher, Shane Terrian. And Chris, I guess you'll grab second, Joseph Lester.
Well, second isn't here that I can see. So I think we're just gonna talk to the winner here because Joseph is not in Discord that I can see.
Interesting. Okay. Well, then I guess you can grab the winner.
I'll go ahead and pull him up, and you go ahead and interview him because I know you have a lot of questions for him.
Bronson, Christian, and Josh in the booth. Got a copy?
Yeah, I gotcha.
Oh, man. I'm just going to start out and say it. What a move to get you to the lead. What were you thinking on that move, man?
Honestly, I was literally just saying to my teammates as we're going green, I'm like, I'm going to ride his bumper on the odd chance that I can get a good start and try and make something happen. And it worked. I rode the bumper, and he wasn't able to clear Gomez before I was able to get in between both of them. So, I don't know. It was really narrow in the car. I'm not sure how narrow it looked from out of the car. I haven't quite looked at it yet, but it was a good one. That was a good move. Probably one of the best ones I've done on a plate track, actually.
Well, it definitely worked out for you. I think you had a little bit more room than probably what looked in the car, but I wouldn't say too much, But obviously we know as drivers, it always looks tighter than it actually is. But all in all, the caution came out. You guys lined back up for another green, white, checkered, and those guys ended up pitting anyway, so you would have ended up with the lead regardless. But what was your mindset coming back to green? Knowing if we don't get back to the white flag, the race is over, and I just need to hang on, but. Obviously, if we make it back, we got to race for it. So, again, just what was your mindset coming back to that final green flag?
Honestly, it was just going to be trying to hold the yellow line. If anything, learned kind of tonight, it was really, really hard to get to the guy's bumper in front of you. And if you did and then pulled out, unless you had a line of cars doing it, you really would just kind of hit like a brick wall and stop. So it was kind of just hold the yellow. If they're going to push me, hopefully it doesn't spin me type deal. I didn't really have to worry about the front row too much with Jacob, as much as that sucks to say. My teammate lined up fourth, so he wasn't really going to push him too much, I think, to take away the win, but like enough to keep himself up there, but he was able to get to the bottom anyway and finish third. So, but yeah, the whole thought was just, what can we do to stay in this spot? And unfortunately, they all wrecked, so we didn't really have to do too much work, but regardless, it was fun.
Now, I will say, speaking of the teammate, I heard from, I'll just say, a reliable source that may or may not have been Shane, that I think you turned him coming to the white flag at some point, and he may or may not have wanted to return the favor.
Yeah. Last season, we had a group of 5 or 6 of us with myself, Shane, a couple of other teammates with Austin, Gridorix at the time, and Kenny, who aren't here this season, and Dyer was in the pack. We had a 30-second lead. We got a green, white, checkered. I was pushing him through 3 and 4, and I got his left rear and completely cleaned him out and cleaned the team out. And we went from being like first through fifth to Matt Dyer winning for another team. So I think he wanted to try and get me back for that one, but he wasn't able to.
So I'm going to throw a fact your way real quick. I'm not sure if you knew this or not, but we learned that the winner of the season opener has failed to advance past the round of 8 in this league's, I guess we'll say, existence. So now that you do know that little bit of information, do you feel almost like you are now thrown the curse, I guess we'll call it?
No, not really. Honestly, the team has more of a record with winning season openers than anything else, and as like a team, we have something like 9 or 10 championships. I'm not too worried. I think the biggest thing that's going to be the curve is it's a new car. Like I'm not sure what it's going to do at any track. Tonight was a whole learning thing. No idea what it's going to do next season, like next week, and after that, Road America especially too. So who knows? We'll see. For all we know, honestly, for all we know, everywhere else I could be one of the slowest cars. So honestly, who knows? I think it's going to be hard to say if there's a curse or not with a new car and everything. But yeah, I'm not too worried at the point.
Yeah, I mean, I'll agree with you on that one. It's a new car. I would say for the most part, still getting their feet wet, trying to figure it out. But, we asked Shane the same thing, and I'll obviously ask you as well. You mentioned Road America in a couple weeks, but, before you get there, I'm pretty sure you got to get through Auto Club. But, obviously, again, it is a new car. We're still kind of learning it for the most part. But what are you expecting? And I guess I'll ask too, what are you hoping for, to see next week at Auto Club?
I would hope it is a little more, Gen 6-ish in a way, where, like, sure, maybe started full throttle, but you would lift and you could spread out the field. But I've had a couple people tell me that have been running leagues with this car, is like even tracks like Kansas, it stays kind of full throttle, like in a single file line, can't pass unless you have help kind of deal. So I'm a little worried. I hope it's better. I'm not sure what you can do to the car to make it better, if there is anything. Obviously, iRacing doesn't have like the most current up-to-date testing one, because NASCAR hasn't even finalized it. So who knows, it might get better in, say a month, like after even the Christmas break, when they go to update it for the actual season, and then it might not be an issue, or who knows. I really don't know. But yeah, I'm not sure like what to expect. I have no idea. I hope it still drives like a race car at a track like Auto Club, if that makes sense.
No, I totally understand, man. Obviously we're in the booth, but Christian and myself, we're racers as well. We've run just about anything we can get into, so I completely understand with where you're coming from, and even Shane and I both kind of agreed that if you can get multiple grooves working at Auto Club, it's a blast, and obviously that's all we can hope for at this point. But congrats on the win, man. Who would you like to thank tonight?
Definitely the whole SkyMar Sports team. We had a good little showing. Unfortunately, Tom and Chapman ended up in a wreck towards the end, but myself and Shane got a 1-3, and we had Tellier running tonight too. He was running pretty good. We got G Fuel in the car, Gamer Subs on the car, Thompson Caterpillar out there in Tennessee, Steak and Shake FRN with our whole deal that we do over there. They're on the cars everywhere. I think Shane's got the cage. I'm not sure. Evil Controllers, I'm 100% going there, but just everything that makes it all happen. Obviously, you guys coming in, I think up to a week ago we didn't have a broadcast, and now we do, so that's really cool. Always grateful for people coming on board and watching virtual people do race car things and making it look fun and entertaining. So this one will be fun to watch back, see how y'all do. But obviously you guys and league admins for finally getting this up and running again. It's been a couple months, a lot of months, but good turnout for the first race back, so hopefully some excitement going forward.
Yeah, sir. I told Shane the same thing. It's actually our first night together as a team, and getting used to myself and Christian in the booth, and then Mayu working the controls and cameras and whatnot. So if you guys obviously go back and watch it, and obviously we are open to criticism, and obviously helping us out helps you out, because then we can obviously put on a better product. But congrats again, man, and hopefully talk to you again next week.
Yeah. All right. Thanks, guys.
There's your race winner, Bronson Stafford, after his amazing move to get the lead and obviously hang on. But, well, Chris, night one in the books. Let's wrap it up, buddy.
Yeah, I think you summed it up with that amazing move there at the end. Just an incredible job. As we'll go over the results here, obviously our winner, Bronson Stafford. Second, Joseph Lester wasn't available for an interview. He had post-race priorities that he had to take care of. Third, Shane Terrian. Fourth, Gilberto Javier Gomera. And fifth, Austin Story. Eric Stamp, sixth. Christian Gomez, seventh. Jonathan Woods, eighth. Brockton Packard with a 9th place finish after starting 26th, and Robert Sherwood with a 10th place finish after starting tail end of the field.
11th, Austin Jordan. 12th, we mentioned it, Matt Hummel. 13th, his teammate Trenton, who I would again argue dominated the race himself with his teammate Christian Gomez. But unfortunately, the cards didn't go right for him at the end. Justin Dietrich 14th, Caleb Smith 15th, Jason Cameron Jr. 16th, Logan Achy Breaky Hart 17th. Yes, I just did that. Jacob Grant 18th, our buddy Will Bustler 19th, and Joey Chapman 20th.
Sorry, I'm trying to catch my composure after that achy breaky heart thing. Yeah, Tom Bourne 21st, Kevin Young 22nd, Mason Wagaman 23rd, Tanner Johnson 24th, Mike Tellier 25th, Spencer Hardison 26th, Jared Ziegler 27th, and rounding out the field for tonight's Daytona race was Justin Teal finishing 28th. And with that all being said, we're going to wrap it up here. First broadcast for iSPEEdtv for this series. Hopefully it went well. Hopefully you all enjoyed. I've been your host, Christian Snyder, joined by Josh Conover, and got to thank our producer, Josh Mayu, for the amazing camera work. But that's going to do it for us. Thank you for watching, and have a good night, folks.